What's going on everyone? In this video I'm going over my hamstring focused leg workout. As you can see here, I'm starting out with the lying hamstring curl machine. This exercise predominantly targets the hamstrings but also works one of the main calf muscles being the gastrocnemius. This muscle crosses the ankle and knee joints which play a key role in knee flexion. Over the past few weeks I've been gradually progressively overloading with reps and weight, which has paid dividends to my hamstring development. I must point out that this exercise shouldn't just be looked at as a hamstring builder, as it also plays a huge role in injury prevention. One thing to be mindful of with this exercise is form breakdown. When approaching failure, it can be tempting to start jerking the weight up by any means necessary. 1. This doesn't look good, and 2. Doesn't provide an adequate hypertrophic stimulus. I'd advise you to own the weight and make every rep count. My second exercise in this leg workout is the hack squat. I prefer to do this exercise after the lying leg curl as I feel much sturdier in the bottom position. Whilst I do enjoy free weight squats, hack squats allow you to really push the quadriceps to the limit. Due to being fixed in the machine, there are no stabilisation requirements, so there is no form breakdown when approaching failure. It's quite common for bodybuilders to choose the hack squat as their main quad movement, because the stimulus to fatigue ratio is favourable compared to the barbell back squat. When performing this movement, I like to follow a tempo of 2 to 3 seconds down, a short pause and a swift explosion at the bottom. I find this works much better than rushing and dive bombing through the exercise. In regards to foot positioning, I personally use a shoulder width stance, as this allows me to specifically target the quads. However, this doesn't mean it would work for you. You may find a slightly closer or wider stance works best. My target reps for this set was 15. I sometimes follow a downward pyramid protocol of 15, 12, 10 and 8. I always mention with this exercise to breathe, as lack of oxygen could limit the effectiveness of the set. When reaching the top, take a huge breath. I find this really helps to stabilise the heart rate. If you guys don't already have this exercise in your routine, I would highly recommend that you give it a try. Moving on to my third exercise, I'm performing sets of 10 to 12 on the Adduction Machine. I really enjoy this exercise as I'm able to isolate the adductors and push them to fatigue. Whilst most free weight exercises give them a minor stimulus, I would still recommend training them directly to maximise hypertrophy and to ensure there are no weak links when it comes to injury probability. Personally, I have a lot of work to do on my adductors as they are weaker compared to my hip abductors. Because of this, I perform one extra set for them to match the strength of my hip abductors. In the past, I never used to use this exercise, but since adding it into my routine, I've noticed a significant increase in strength and hypertrophy. I've noticed at the top of this movement there is a noticeable sticking point. Sometimes it can be useful to get a training partner to assist with the last portion of the rep. Once again, if you're not already using this movement, I would highly recommend that you add it into your training routine. Moving on to my fourth exercise, I'm supersetting adductors with abductors. One of the great benefits with this machine is you can swiftly adjust the pads to target the opposing muscles. I find this really convenient as you can train both muscles in a short period of time. I've always enjoyed training the hip abductor as it stimulates the glute medius, which doesn't get enough attention through squats. Strengthening the glute medius can drastically improve squats as their key role is stabilising the pelvis, which also maintains balance when standing on one leg. This is especially important for sports performance and injury prevention. As you can see, I like to pause for about 1 second before initiating the next rep. This improves the mind-muscle connection and eliminates any momentum. It's not mandatory to follow a strict tempo, but if you're looking to maximise hypertrophy, it's definitely the way to go. With this exercise, I like to achieve at least 10 to 15 reps. When going lower than this, I find it very counterproductive as I can't achieve an adequate time under tension. As always, feel free to experiment with this exercise and see what works for you. For my fifth exercise, I'm moving on to Romanian deadlifts. This is a great deadlift variation for those looking to develop the hamstrings. At the beginning of the workout, I train the hamstrings with knee flexion. I'm now using the RDL to train hip extension. I think these exercises complement each other very well, as you have both a compound and an isolation movement to target the whole posterior chain. For me personally, I like to place more emphasis on the hamstrings, mainly due to the fact that they are commonly neglected. This serves no benefit and only increases your risk of injury. I would advise to always strive for strength balance of opposing muscle groups. For many people, including myself, grip can be a limiting factor with this exercise, especially when fatigued from previous sets and exercises. I have found a couple of ways to counteract this. One, you could invest in some lifting straps, and two, you could place the RDL at the start of your leg workout. For my final exercise, I am using the seated calf raise machine. What I love about this exercise is it places your knees in a bent position which allows you to bias the soleus muscle of the calf. This doesn't get hit to the same degree in the standing variation. However, I would recommend that you cycle both of the variations in your routine to get the best of both worlds. It's quite common for people to load this machine with a ton of weight, but your best bet is to slowly progressively overload with top tier form. This will not only help the development of your calf muscles, but will also prevent Achilles injuries. I believe training the calf muscles regularly is paramount for performance, as they propel you forward with every step you take and are the first line of defence when it comes to impact. Another great benefit is improving ankle stability and overall balance. Calf raises are also excellent for stretching the plantar muscles of the foot. As you can see, I'm performing every rep with intent. Try not to rush this movement as best you can. As always, I highly recommend that you add this exercise into your routine if you're not already using it. I do hope that this video has been informative. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.